Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that if you're returning. How are you today? Before we get started, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter yet, please do so. Okay, all the information you're going to need is in the description box below. Also, if there's anything that you would like to add to our newsletter, a veteran highlight, pet highlight, recipes, videos, news links, anything like prepping tips and tricks, anything that you want that you feel is important, email me or Trish, okay, and we'll put it in the newsletter. All right. So grab your coffee, maybe some chocolate, because you just never know with me what's going to come out of my mouth or what's going on in the world today. So because it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's just like, so there's a few things that I want to discuss today, okay? And then I will, try and just woosah, woosah. Okay, so there is a lot going on, especially with the holidays, okay? We're going to be seeing a lot of shite going down, unfortunately. Home Depot, okay, in Lakewood was the site of the newest smash and grab theft in Los Angeles County, okay? And it appears that the thieves stole tools that could be used for future crimes. And this is according to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office, okay? At about 7:45 p.m., 8 or 9 young guys, okay, entered Home Depot, located at 5000 Hardwick Street, and stole multiple hammers and crowbars and wrenches and other tools before fleeing into waiting vehicles. Now, the tools totaled about $400 in value, and it's believed that the thieves fled in a red in color Mercedes-Benz with severe damage to the front of the vehicle. Now, detectives were on the scene investigating the theft and reviewing security footage. A Home Depot employee by the name of Louis Romo, R-O-M-O, said he saw somewhere between 18 and 22 thieves enter the store altogether. They had sledgehammers ready to hit people who were trying to stop them. Anyone with any information, because I know I have a lot of subscribers who live out in this area, please call the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office at 562-623-3500. We're going to be seeing a lot more of this. And it's so unfortunate. It really is. I just can't believe that this is actually happening. For people like us, like you and me, okay, people in our community who work so hard to get what we have and get to where we are today, to acquire the preps that we have. And then there's people like this who do things like this. It makes it harder and harder for us to prep, for us to buy tools that we're going to need on our homesteads. It's disheartening. It really is. And I just don't, I guess I'll never understand the mindset. So this article was sent to me, okay, by a subscriber, okay? And I'm going to read this to you because we speak a lot on this channel about finances, okay? Especially on Friday nights when we have Trish on our channel, okay? And so in a report, okay, that emerged during the COP26 climate conference in Glasgow, Credit Suisse, and that's S-U-I-S-S-E, The famed Swiss investment bank, okay, claimed that the ultimate reason for carbon dioxide emissions is the consumer. Well, thanks. So one could argue that at the end of the day, it is our daily lifestyle that drives energy consumption and by implication emission levels from other sources. Whether it's the car that we drive, the products that we buy, or the house that we heat, all emissions globally ultimately are generated by manufacturers or service providers in order to accommodate consumer behavior and spending patterns. So the report goes through the consumption of the average person, going through various areas of life. In the household, that report claims that taking a shower or bath and using the toilet have a high carbon footprint, and that while it is known that eating meat has a far greater emission footprint than a more plant-based or vegetarian diet, they also highlight that other food items such as chocolate or cheese have a relatively high emission profile too. Okay, so now, so the way that I'm taking this already, all right, is now, here we go back with the chocolate and the cheese. How many times do I have to say, don't touch my chocolate and my cheese? How many times? Okay. So on the topic of clothing now. So taking a shower or a bath, using the toilet, the chocolate and the cheese, okay, we're leaving too much of a carbon footprint. So don't eat chocolate, don't eat cheese, don't use the toilet, don't take a shower. All right, so on the topic of clothing, the solutions of the Swiss bank to high carbon emissions include investing in higher quality clothing that lasts longer, wearing items more often, washing them less frequently and at lower temperatures, and not using tumble dryers, but air drying clothing when possible, along with stopping online shopping. All right. But you don't want us to shower, but you don't want us to wash our clothes, but you want us to buy higher quality items. So tell me if I'm wrong here. So, all right. The report claims that entertainment is one area that might be overlooked by consumers and being emission intense, and found that specifically video gaming is highly emission intense, claiming that an extreme gamer using a high-end PC might be generating more than 450 kilograms of carbon emissions per year. Even the concept of going to the gym is attacked in the report. Okay, so don't be healthy either. If one also cares about the environment, then it stands to reason that running outside is preferred. The conclusion of the report gave the activities and consumption of hypothetical sustainable consumer in total. Credit Suisse would have the sustainable consumer completely give up, now listen, red meat, beer, coffee, oh, don't even. Milk, long-hauled flights, petrol cars, video games. The ideal consumer would also eat only 25 grams of cheese, 6 slices of bread, and 2 eggs a week. Rely on public transportation 4 days a week. Only watch 2 hours combined of TV and streamed video a day. Take 3 showers a week for 8 minutes each. Only flush the toilet twice a day. Use the oven 3 times a week for 20 minutes at a time. Only use the dishwasher once a week. Buy a maximum of 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants a year. For some readers, adopting such a lifestyle in order to live sustainably may be difficult to accept. However, we note that in order to make our world more sustainable, a no change scenario is simply unrealistic, the report concludes. The full table detailing the sustainable consumer is included below. Let me see if I can. Okay, I can. So I'm going to, well, you know what? The link will be in the description box below so you guys can see this. Let me see. Eating. Consumption of red meat 0 times a week. Consumption of poultry 2 times a week. Consumption of seafood 2 times a week. Consumption of chocolate 50 times. Consumption of crisps. Are those French fries or are those like potato chips? 50 times. Consumption of cheese 25 times a week. Number of eggs per week 2. Consumption of bread times a week 2 slices each 3. Consumption of Greek yogurt 3 times a week. Consumption of vegetables per week 7 times a week. Consumption of fruit per week 5 times a week. Consumption of rice per week 3 times a week. Consumption of pasta per week 2 times a week. Consumption of potatoes per week 2 times per week. Number of beer units per week 0. Number of wine units per week 4. Number of diet soda cans per week 4. Number of coffee per day 0. Liters of bottled water per day 2. Number of teas per day 4. Number of units of milk per week 0. Number of times taking long-haul return flights per year Premier Economy 0. Number of times taking short-haul return flights per year Business 0. Number of times taking long-haul return flights per year 1. Average kilometer in a car per year Large petrol 0. Average kilometer in a car per year medium 0. Average kilometer in a car per year small, there's nothing. Average kilometer in a car per year large electric, there's nothing. Average kilometer in a car per year medium electric 5,000. Average kilometer in a car per year small electric, nothing. Number of days using intra-city public transport per week 4. Average distance traveled by public transportation each time kilometer 5. Number of times using long distance rail bus travel per month 2. Average distance traveled by long distance rail each time single kilometer 200. Average kilometer cycling per week 30. Average nights spent in a 2-star hotel 0. Average nights spent in a 3-star hotel per year 0. Average nights spent in a 4-star hotel per year 10. Average nights spent in a 5-star hotel per year 0. Average nights spent in a high-end luxury hotel cruise per year 0. Number of times used treadmill per week 30 minutes each 3. Average time per day spent watching regular broadcast TV in hours 1. Average time per day spent watching TV streaming like Netflix in hours 1. And it goes on and on. This is ridiculous. Who the hell are these people? No kidding. So then I stumbled across this last night, so I wanted to read this to you, okay? And when I saw this, I said, my God, this is just ridiculous. Okay, so But then again, you know, when you hear something about North Korea, you just don't know how to take it, especially when it comes to that moron, Kim Jong-un, okay? So, Doomsday Warning experts state U.S. is vulnerable in electromagnetic pulse attack, or EMP as we call it, okay, causing a nationwide blackout. So, when we hear something like this, especially people of the prepared mind, we're like, what? Wait a minute. But then again, when it comes out of his mouth, you're like, really? You know what I mean? So according to a report from Fox News, now I know MSM, blase squaze, but you know, it's like, all right, let's just hear them out real quick. Okay, right? So experts are warning that the United States is vulnerable to an EMP attack from adversaries such as China, and that the time to invest in defending the country from it is running out. So, on Tuesday, November 23rd, during a virtual forum hosted by the Universal Peace Federation, Peter Vincent Pry, and that's P-R-Y, the executive director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security, said in a statement, that poses a real threat of possibly being able to win a war with a single blow by means of EMP attack. Moreover, they don't envision employing an EMP by itself. It would be used in conjunction with cyber attacks and physical sabotage, a non-nuclear EMP. So, okay, so there goes our power grid. Or does it? It's so hard to say, right? So experts like Pry warn that the U.S. electrical grid and other infrastructure, such as communications, transportation systems, water, sewer services, could all be devastated by such an attack. And experts noted that time is of the essence for the U.S. to defend itself. Well, when you have a mashed potato in office and an administration that has their head in the sand, and they could give a crap about anything other than themselves, we're pretty much left to our own defenses. So reportedly, China already possesses super EMPs and during summer of 2020 tested a new hypersonic glide vehicle, okay, that analysis warned could deploy the EMP and cause long-lasting blackout that would shut down key infrastructure, okay, and cripple the military's ability to communicate. Which, while such an attack would be bloodless, okay, at first, experts warn that a year-long blackout caused by an EMP could kill an estimated 90% of the American population. Well, sure. Especially in the summertime, especially for people like me who live in Florida when it's 115 friggin' degrees out and you don't have AC. Okay, so Plamen, and that's Plamen, Doynov, and that's Doynov. He's a professor at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and chief technology officer at the company EMP Shield, said that it's bloodless, at least initially. How scary is that? So, more worrisome, all right, is the idea that countries without cutting-edge military technology could successfully launch an EMP attack, meaning less advanced adversaries such as North Korea could strike a devastating blow against the U.S. homeland. And then he warns, a recent Pentagon report on Chinese military capability stated that China has invested heavily in its EMP program with a strategy that emphasizes suppressing, degrading, disrupting, or deceiving enemy electronic equipment throughout the continuum of a conflict, while protecting its ability to use the cyber and electromagnetic spectrum. The PLA is likely to use electronic warfare early in a conflict as a signaling mechanism to warn and deter adversary offensive action. And the report also added, potential EW targets include adversary systems, operating in radio, radar, microwave, infrared, and optical frequency ranges, as well as adversary, computer, and information systems. Now, Pry also warns that if China or any other adversary such as Russia were to successfully cause a large-scale blackout, there is little the U.S. could do in response. So while the U.S. possesses, the technology and capability to defend the nation's infrastructure for such an attack, deploying it across the country that has several different state agencies and utility companies responsible for the grid will be a challenge. We do know how to protect against it. It's not a technological problem. It's a political problem. So number 45, he took steps in 2019 to begin addressing that challenge, signing an executive order that directed government-wide coordination to defend against an EMP attack. David Winks, the managing director of electromagnetic resilience firm AccuSight, and that's ACQUSIGHT, he believes more can be done, including using some of the resources that Potato, his massive infrastructure package, to begin hardening the nation's defense against an EMP attack. Now, Winks said there are more active protection measures that will ground the pulse as it strikes the electric system of a vehicle. For example, the good news is those technologies are out there. They do exist. They do exist. But it's a political issue. It always has been. It always will be. Because they could care less about us. That's what sucks. All right, guys, that's all for this video. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe. You stay positive. You keep prepping. And as always, fearless.